Welcome back to Subculture. You're listening to CentralCoastRadio.com. I'm your host Kyle, and I'd like to talk about a comedy show I just saw. It's Lucky Gough's Monster Truck Extravaganza 3000. So let's get ready for fun, fun, fun. It's time for action, 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 and laugh out loud comedy, 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 and other gargantuan vehicular-based mayhem at Monster Truck Extravaganza 3000. That's right. Rev up your engines and fasten your seatbelts for the latest hour of comedy from the hilarious Lucky Go of Handful of Bugs Theatre Company. We all know what to expect from a monster truck show. There's death-defying stunts, wheelies, burnouts, V8 engine roaring so loud that you won't be able to hear clearly for days afterwards, and not to mention the potential of being horribly injured, if not killed, by flying debris. Well, this show it promised none of that. I mean, are you insane? It's a comedy club. It's a show at the Butterfly Club after all. But what it does promise is a an hour. What it did promise was an hour of sketch comedy and laughter from one man who lives and breathes the monster trucking way of life. Now, I was lucky enough to catch Lucky Go in his previous Handful of Bugs production, the John Wilkes Booth. I believe I talked about this on the show a few months ago, and that was it was an energetic spy versus spy epic full of assassination plots, 10-gallon hats, dodgy accents, and Daniel Day Lewis impressions. Um, now, despite and like I said at the time, that despite it not being part of the Melbourne International Comedy Festival, it was still one of the funniest shows that I'd seen so far this year. So yeah, I was excited to see whatever Handful of Bugs theatre company could come up with next, and it's a very different type of show than the John Wilkes Booth. This one being a one man show, uh, but it still has plenty of surprises thrown in. Lucky greets you as you come in. Yeah, he greeted us as we walked in upstairs of the Butterfly Club, and yeah, he was out of character, and it was very informal, and he was just very welcoming. He just seems like a really nice guy. Then yeah, it was off and running with the thing that, as he says, all the hotshot comedians are using right now, a PowerPoint presentation. Yeah, we then it treated to an introduction of the world of monster trucks, and even the world of Lucky Go himself. Now, it was just a random and absurdist slideshow, which kind of uh, eased you into the level of insanity which would follow. Yeah, it was hilarious sketches, songs, pantomime. There was a little bit of prop work, which I wasn't expecting at the time, and yeah, some just characters by Lucky based. All of the entire show is really just based around monster trucks and just the whole hype of yeah, the monster truck fanatic lifestyle. Now, the as I say, it's a comedy club, so I mean the Butterfly Club. It didn't they didn't bust out the back wall of their club in order to fit in a real 12 foot tall monster truck or anything. But the show it was still a show that was really big on spectacle, with many of the sketches utilizing quite a lot of audio-visual systems to kind of creatively shake things up and really just ensure that we never really know what direction the show is going to go in next. It isn't just a guy up there on stage talking. There's a lot of other stuff to the show. But something that I found quite fascinating about the night was uh, that Lucky Go he really has an ability to draw you in as an audience member, and I mean that he really makes you feel like you're part of the action. Really draws you into the show without the show having a really huge focus on audience participation. What I mean by that is like nobody from the audience is dragged up on stage to take part in a sketch, and there's little, if any, actual crowd work. I mean, I guess it the show's kind of informal, so I guess it just depended on the night. But for my night, there wasn't any real crowd work, but the entire crowd was still engaged by Lucky. Like he really just made us feel like we were part of the show just by the magnetism of his personality alone. Like I already knew that Lucky was good at like improvisation and being able to come up with stuff on the fly, but yeah, once again, the for the show that I saw, I believe his mother was in the audience, and her phone went off halfway through a sketch, and even though the sketches were like they are heavily scripted in parts, and well, of course they are. There's not a whole bunch of crowd work and improvisation, um, but when something like that happens, something that's unexpected, he's still able to just roll with it, and yeah, just keep the audience laughing the entire time. That it still feels, it just felt so natural, and for him then to just go straight back into the show again after that, like it really was just an entertaining show, even when he went off script. Yeah, so he's really one of the few people that I think can make a vehicle plowing into a crowd of spectators hilarious. Um, I know my brother kind of might have been one of the only people laughing just at the very mention of that. But yeah, Lucky Goes. His set has all the energy of a real life monster truck show. As I say, he really keeps the audience entertained, really keeps them invested, and really there was a lot of whooping, a lot of cheering. It was really just a great show. It was both brilliant and at the same time ridiculously funny, and yeah, it's just a show that had people in the audience wiping away tears and laughter. Like it, I hate to say it, I'm sure it's something that's been said a million times, but it is a mother trucking good time. So I would give this show 4 out of 5 stars. Um, Unfortunately, by now the show would have finished. It was playing from the 19th of June to the 24th of June, so it's just finished, unfortunately, at Butterfly Club. But check out Handful of Bugs Theatre Company for any future shows that these guys are doing. I've found them extremely funny. I've really loved both shows so far, and yeah, I can't help but spread the word on them. So yeah, you're listening to Subculture on CentralCoastRadio.com, and we will be back right after this.